Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about The Monster. And this movie came out in 2016 and it's directed by Brian Bertino, if I pronounced that correctly. And I've never seen any of his movies before. I am aware of some of his movies, like The Strangers, which I have no interest in seeing because I just don't feel as though it's going to be something that I would enjoy. And this movie caught my attention. I think I saw the trailer, or at some point I discovered the poster, and I always was intrigued by the poster. I was like, ooh, that's a good poster. I kind of want to see it. And it's an A24 film, and I was curious to check it out. It wasn't like at the top of my list or anything like that, but it was something where if I ever came across it, I'd check it out just to see what it was. And I didn't completely regret watching it. I liked that it was trying to do some things a little different, and at least to try to have some level of substance to the film. And there were quite a few things that I did like, even though I wouldn't call this movie good, sadly. But still, I like the character dynamics. I thought that the mom and her daughter were really good characters to watch in terms of like they're kind of interesting. I like how they kind of changed things up in this movie because in any other movie it would be just the daughter being really immature and stupid, and the mother just trying to take responsibility for everything and just tell her, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. But in this movie, it's the opposite, whereas the mom is kind of acting like a spoiled teenager for just about the entire movie, and the daughter is trying to just be mature, be like an actual responsible human being. And I found that to be kind of interesting, and it felt like the movie was doing something a little bit different. It did feel as though the movie was trying to say something and have something for you to get invested in or like get attached to or something like that. To have some characterization for these characters and not have them just be like unlikable, disposable bodies for the monster to eat or kill. And the acting was good. I didn't feel as though any of the performances were like dragging the movie down at any point. And of course, in this movie, there are going to be moments where characters make dumb decisions, but with it being this type of movie in terms of like what it's going for and what it's trying to explore, I do feel as though it's more forgivable in this movie because of how things are written and presented. And I do feel as though the drama in this movie, when it was trying to just have characters talking or have some drama in the situation that these characters were in, for the most part, it didn't feel forced to me or unnecessary. There are some scenes that I can do without, and it's mostly just trapped in this car in the middle of the forest, and the only time we escape that is just in flashback scenes. And another thing about this movie is that it had a $3 million budget and only grossed like $74,000. So, not what they were hoping for, unfortunately. So, even for a low budget movie, that's a gigantic flop. And I liked the look of the monster. They didn't show him too much, although they do at a couple of points show him a little too much to the point where he stops being scary. But for the most part, I didn't feel as though the fear of him being in the movie was like being stripped away. I'm not saying that I was scared at any point during this movie, and I'll get into that a little bit more later. But in terms of how the monster was designed, I thought it looked cool, and they had an actor playing it. I forget his name, but I did appreciate that they were using like practical effects and like having a guy in a suit. Like, I do feel as though that's a step in the right direction. And the music wasn't terrible in every scene that it was in, which is more than I can say for a lot of movies. And probably my favorite scene in this movie would just be the mom trying to kick her drinking habit, and it's in a flashback scene, but she just is struggling with that. And my biggest reason as to why I like that scene is because there wasn't a lot of dialogue in it. So that might be why I like it a lot. But As far as the horror goes, one thing that I really hated about the movie was just these dumb jump scares that happen for no reason. Like, have noises come from independently of the movie and not in the movie's universe itself. And even if that wasn't the case, these jump scares being incredibly annoying with the things that I was talking about just now, they don't need to be in the movie. I don't understand why they're there. And the movie had too many close shots to where I couldn't really make out what room characters were in, or what characters were doing at certain points. Like, there's a moment where the daughter character is helping her mom's wrist because she hurt her wrist, and I couldn't actually see what she was doing because it was out of frame. I was like, show me something. Like, maybe this was just part of the budget or something. I don't know. It just felt weird, and you're not really doing much of anything, and that was kind of distracting. And there are some dumb parts about this movie, and they're just mostly found in horror movies, and this movie, sadly, is just no exception, unfortunately. And the overall visual presentation of this movie just wasn't great. I didn't feel as though I got really much of a distinct style to this movie visually. And the action scenes, when we do get action, was really poorly presented. Not sure what was going on there. And the monsters' sounds that they added were kind of goofy to me. I didn't really care for that. I wish that they didn't go in that direction. And the third act of this movie just made absolutely no sense to me. And I was like, you kind of just made characters do stupid, illogical things that just made absolutely no sense. And I just couldn't stand it, honestly. And that's about all I have to say about the monster. It was good in the beginning. Middle was fine. Third act was bad. So if it sounds interesting to you, it's currently on HBO Max. There are some things about it that are good, but its biggest problem is that it's just a mess, and it gets bogged down in the problems that come with being a horror movie. And not that being a horror movie is bad, but it just falls into, we need to have dumb characters and to just make stupid decisions. And it's more forgivable before the third act because it makes sense for those characters to do those things. But once we get into the third act, it just goes off the rails for me, and I don't understand why characters were doing what they were doing. So, kind of disappointed by this movie, but I wasn't really going in with high expectations to begin with. So, with all that being said, I'm going to give The Monster a 4 out of 10. So despite me being disappointed by this movie, I don't hate it. I didn't regret watching it. And I wasn't really bored by it for most of it, so it's got that going for it. Thank you for watching my videos. As always, if you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below your thought of The Monster, and my social media links. They will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Sorcerer. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching, and have a great day.